Grayson had always been the quiet one in the pack, the guy who observed more than he spoke, sketching lyrics in the margins of his law textbooks back in their University of Washington days. That was over a decade ago, when the five of them, Liam, Ethan, Noah, Caleb, and he, had forged a bond tighter than family in the haze of cheap beer and late-night philosophy debates on Capitol Hill. They called themselves the Rain Kings, a half-joking nod to the relentless Pacific Northwest drizzle that mirrored their brooding college souls. Liam, with his easy charm and surfer boy build, had been the first to marry, sweeping Sarah off her feet at a rooftop party in Belltown 3 years after graduation. Ethan followed, the analytical architect tying the knot with Jordan in a sun-dappled ceremony in Golden Gardens, their vows echoing over the sound. Noah, the fiery artist, found quiet stability with Riley in a cozy courthouse wedding downtown. Caleb, ever the pragmatist and tech whiz, surprised them all with a Vegas elopement to Tessa, complete with neon lights and zero regrets, or so he claimed. And Grayson, last but never least, had walked down the aisle with Miah in a wildflower-strewn garden on Whidbey Island, her laughter the anchor he thought would steady his drifting heart. Life in Seattle had settled into a rhythm as predictable as the fairy horns at dawn. The Rain Kings met every other Friday at the Rusty Anchor, a dive bar tucked into the shadow of the Space Needle, where they nursed IPAs and swapped stories of mortgages, minivans, and the slow erosion of dreams. Miah ran a boutique graphic design firm in Fremont, her days filled with vibrant clients and evenings with Grayson tinkering on his guitar in their Queen and row house. She loved his music, called it his secret superpower, unaware that the chords he strummed in the dead of night were laced with echoes of touches long forbidden, glances stolen in dorm rooms that now haunted his sleep. That particular Friday, the bar was thicker with fog than usual, the kind that clung to your coat like regret. Liam arrived first, shaking rain from his blonde curls, his wedding band glinting under the neon sign as he slid into the booth. "Grays, you look like hell, man. Miah got you working overtime again." Liam's grin was all teeth, but his eyes held that familiar flicker, the one that said he remembered the summer they spent backpacking the Olympics, sharing a tent and secrets that summer heat made feel eternal. Grayson forced a smile, sliding his pint across the scarred wooden table. "Just the usual insomnia. You know how it is, chasing ghosts in melodies." He didn't mention the fragment he jotted down that morning, words about locked doors and whispered names that tasted like betrayal on his tongue. Ethan burst in next, his wire-rimmed glasses fogged, carrying blueprints for a new condo development in South Lake Union. "Gentlemen, prepare to be amazed. This one's got views that'll make you forget every bad decision we ever made." His laugh was sharp, deflecting the undercurrent of exhaustion from Jordan's latest infertility treatments, the ones they all pretended not to notice in his tightening jaw. Noah arrived with paint under his nails, his latest mural for a Capitol Hill gallery still fresh in his mind. Riley's pregnancy announcement glowing in his pocket like a fragile talisman. "Baby's on board, boys. Due in spring. You all better start saving for Uncle Judy's." His voice cracked just a fraction, and Caleb, last as always, clapped him on the back with a booming, "To legacies," raising his glass before anyone could probe deeper. They toasted, the clink of glass a fragile bridge over the chasm of unspoken truths. Caleb, with his neatly trimmed beard and startup polo, dominated the conversation, regaling them with tales of Tessa's promotion at the biotech firm in Ballard. But as the night wore on and the whiskey loosened tongues, the stories veered, as they always did, to the old days. "Remember that road trip to Portland?" Liam slurred, his arm slung over Grayson's shoulder. Ethan behind the wheel, blasting Springsteen, and Noah swearing he'd never forgive us for that detour to the hot springs. Ethan chuckled, but his eyes darkened. "Yeah, and the way the steam rose like it was hiding something. We were invincible then." Noah leaned in, voice low. "Invincible or just blind? Pretending the water wasn't boiling us alive from the inside." Caleb shifted, his pragmatism cracking. "Come on, that's ancient history. We've got lives now. Real ones." Grayson felt the weight of their gazes, the booth suddenly too small for the ghosts crowding in. Had been carrying this melody for weeks, a song born from a dream where they were all 18 again, Bodies tangled in the dark. No rings, no vows, just the raw pulse of what could have been. What if it's not history? He murmured, the words slipping out like a confession. What if it's the verse we never sang? The bar noise swelled, swallowing their silence. But in that pocket of quiet, Grayson saw it. The flicker of recognition in Liam's eyes, the flinch in Ethan's, the hunger in Noah's, the denial in Caleb's. Miah texted him then, a heart emoji and a reminder of their anniversary dinner tomorrow, grounding him back to the life head built on half-truths. He left early, the rain soaking his jacket as he walked the slick streets toward home, the notebook burning in his pocket. Back in the loft, Miah was asleep, her curls splayed across the pillow like an invitation he no longer knew how to accept. Grayson picked up his guitar, the strings humming under his fingers, and let the words pour out. Locked doors and borrowed time, 5 kings in a borrowed rhyme, wives in white, but hearts in line, waiting for the chord to chime. It was rough, jagged, but it cut true, exposing the seams of their carefully stitched facades. By dawn, Head polished it into something lethal. Rain King's Lament. He recorded a demo on his phone, raw vocals over acoustic strums, and before he could second-guess, emailed it to a contact at a small indie label in Pioneer Square. Just something I was messing with, he wrote, but deep down, he knew it was a flare shot into the night. The response came faster than expected. Grayson, this is gold. Haunting, real. We're cutting a single next week if you're game. His heart raced, a mix of terror and thrill. He showed Miah over coffee, her eyes lighting up. Babe, this is you. Finally sharing your gift. She kissed him, soft and sure, and he almost believed the lie could hold. But as the week unfolded, the song leaked early, a viral whisper on SoundCloud that trickled into Spotify playlists for rainy day drives. Comments flooded in. Who hurt you like this? Feels like my own secrets singing back. Grayson watched the streams climb from his office at the public defender's firm in downtown, where he fought for the voiceless by day and silenced his own voice by night. The Rain Kings group chat, dormant for days, exploded Friday morning. Liam, dude, is that our song? Ethan, Grayson, what the hell? Noah, call me. Now. Caleb, we need to talk. Rusty Anchor, tonight. Grayson's hands trembled as he typed back, it's fiction. Inspired by us, yeah, but not us. But even as he hit send, he knew the lyrics painted too vivid a portrait. References to stolen glances at frat parties, the hot springs packed to bury their truths, the rings that felt like chains, the secrets they'd all sworn to take to their graves, now echoing in harmonies that millions could hum along to. Miah noticed his distraction at lunch, her fork pausing over her salad in the Pike Place market bustle. You okay? The song's blowing up, but you look like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. He squeezed her hand, the warmth a reminder of all Head risk losing. Just nerves. It's out there now, you know? She smiled, that radiant curve that had first drawn him in at a mutual friend's gallery opening. And it's beautiful. Like you. Guilt twisted in his gut as he kissed her goodbye, heading to the bar early. The Rusty Anchor was emptier than usual, the jukebox playing some forgotten Tom Waits track. Liam was already there, nursing a scotch, his usual levity stripped away. You son of a bitch, he said. But there was no heat in it, just exhaustion. Sarah heard it on her commute. Asked if I'd ever. You know. Grayson slid into the seat opposite, the vinyl creaking like a confession. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It started as therapy, getting it out. Ethan arrived next, his tie loosened, glasses perched on his head. Therapy? It's a goddamn memoir, Gray. Jordan thinks it's about her sister or some bullshit, but she's looking at me sideways now. Noah burst through the door, rain dripping from his hoodie, eyes wild. Riley played it for me this morning. Said it reminded her of my old sketches, the ones I burned. What were you thinking? Caleb was last, his face a mask of controlled fury. Tessa confronted me at breakfast. The line about the Vegas lights and the vow we never meant? That's us, Grayson. Our elopement. How do we explain this to them? the booth filled with their collective weight, the air thick with the scent of wet wool and unspoken accusations. Grayson leaned forward, voice low. Because it's true. All of it. We've been playing house for years, but inside we're still those kids in the rain, hiding from what we feel. The song. It's a wake-up call. Liam slammed his glass down, liquid sloshing. A wake-up to what? Destroying everything? I love Sarah. She's my rock. And Miah. Ethan shot back. You think she's not your rock? This could end us all. Noah buried his face in his hands. I want the baby. I want the life. But every time Riley touches me, I see. That night in the dorms. Caleb shook his head, voice steady but eyes betrayed. We're not kids anymore. We made choices. This song? It's selfish. Grayson felt the fracture lines spreading, the bond they cherished cracking under the weight of his creation. Maybe it is, but secrets like ours, they fester. The song exposes them so we can finally breathe. They sat in silence as the bartender called last orders, the rain easing to a drizzle outside. One by one, they stood, hugs awkward and lingering, promises to talk tomorrow hanging fragile in the air. Grayson walked home alone, the city lights blurring through tears he didn't bother to wipe. In the loft, Miah was waiting, the demo playing softly on her laptop. It's us, isn't it? She whispered, not accusing, just knowing. He nodded, collapsing beside her. Parts of it. I'm sorry. She pulled him close, her embrace a lifeline. Then tell me the rest. All of it. As the clock ticked past midnight, Grayson began, words tumbling like the lyrics' head set free, unraveling the tapestry of his heart thread by thread. The confession spilled out in fragments, each one a shard of glass Grayson handed Miah under the harsh glow of their bedside lamp. He started with the beginning, the summer before senior year when the Rain Kings had rented a creaky cabin on the Ho Rain Forest, escaping finals week for what they called their soul reset. The air had been thick with moss and mist, the days blurring into hikes along fern-choked trails and nights around a fire pit where stories turned intimate, barriers dissolving like fog at dawn. It was Liam who crossed the line first, or maybe it was mutual, Grayson couldn't recall anymore. A game of truth or dare, bottles empty, stars pricking the canopy above. Truth, Liam had said, his voice rough from smoke, eyes locked on Grayson's across the flames. What's the one thing you'd change about us? The us had hung heavy, encompassing the group, but in that moment it narrowed to two. Grayson had admitted to the glances, the accidental brushes in the cramped kitchenette that sent sparks up his spine. Liam had leaned in then, their kiss tasting of whiskey and wild ferns, brief but electric, a secret sealed before the others stirred. Miah listened without interrupting, her fingers tracing circles on his arm, a silent permission to continue. He told her how it rippled, that night awakening something dormant. Ethan and Noah, tangled in a sleeping bag during a midnight storm, their whispers mistaken for thunder. Caleb, ever the observer, pulling Grayson aside the next morning by the river. His confession a quiet admission of envy and desire, their hands clasping under the current until the water ran cold. We swore it was the isolation, Grayson said, voice cracking. The magic of the woods. Would go back to normal, be the straight A bros everyone expected. But it stuck, like burrs on our jeans. She nodded, tears glistening but not falling. And after college ended, real life started. Did it stop? He hesitated, the next piece harder to dislodge. After graduation, they scattered but not far, all drawn back to Seattle like salmon to spawn. Liam landed a marketing gig at a tech firm in Bellevue. Ethan apprenticed under a renowned architect in Pioneer Square. Noah dove into the vibrant street art scene of Fremont. Caleb bootstrapped his app development side hustle into a thriving startup in Soto, and Grayson clerked for a judge while gigging at open mics in Ballard. The Rain Kings persisted, their Fridays a ritual, but the undercurrent simmered, manifesting in loaded jokes, prolonged eye contact, the occasional hotel room share on boys' trips that veered too close to temptation. The hot springs in Oregon, he continued, the memory vivid as yesterday. That detour Liam mentioned. We told our girlfriends it was for the views, but it was for us. Stripped down in the steam, talking about fears, futures. Hands on shoulders turned to more for some. Not all at once, but enough to bind us tighter in guilt. Miah shifted, her body tense against his. And me? When we met, was I part of the cover? The question landed like a punch. Grayson pulled her closer, willing her to feel the truth in his pulse. No. God, no. You were light in the fog, Miah. That gallery opening, you in that red dress, laughing at my bad puns. I fell hard, wanted to be the man you saw. The others, they found their anchors too. But the song, it dredged it all up. Like writing a map to buried treasure we never meant to dig. She was quiet for a long time, the city's nocturnal hum filling the space. Then softly, I always knew there was a piece missing. Not that I wasn't enough, but that you were holding back. Play it again. He did. The acoustic strains filling the room, lyrics weaving their shared history into something universal. When it ended, she whispered, "It's beautiful because it's honest. Terrifying, but honest." They made love that night, slow and searching, as if mapping new territories. But dawn brought the reckoning. Grayson's phone buzzed relentlessly. Voicemails from the label, texts from strangers praising the raw queer anthem they'd mistaken it for, and a group message from the Rain Kings. Emergency meet at Ethan's site tomorrow. No excuses. The construction site in South Lake Union was a skeleton of steel beams and concrete slabs. Ethan's latest project, a high-rise that promised panoramic views of the Olympics. They gathered in a half-finished conference room, tarps flapping in the wind off the lake, the city skyline mocking their fragility. Liam paced, his athletic frame coiled tight. Streams hit 1 million overnight. NPR called it the voice of millennial regret. Sarah wants space. Says the lyrics hit too close to her own doubts about us. Ethan unrolled blueprints like a shield, his voice measured. Jordan's in tears. Thinks I'm having an affair. I told her it's art, but she saw through it. We need a plan, Gray. Deny it. Pull the track. Noah, sketching absently on a napkin, shook his head. Deny what? Our lives? Riley's thrilled about the baby, but she cornered me last night. Asked if I'd ever loved a man. I lied, said no. But the song said yes for me. Caleb, scrolling his phone, looked up grim. Tez SAS furious. The Vegas line? She thinks I regret marrying her. My investors heard it, joking about the bromance origin story. Business as usual, but at home. It's war. Grayson stood in the center, the wind whipping his hair, feeling like the eye of their storm. I can't pull it. It's out there, living its own life. But I didn't write it to hurt you. It was for me to stop pretending. Liam stopped pacing, facing him. Pretending what? That we're happy? I am mostly. Sarah's my partner, my equal. But yeah, there's a part of me that remembers the freedom, the no judgments us. The admission hung, pulling confessions like dominoes. Ethan admitted the infertility strain had him questioning everything, including the man had become. Noah spoke of his art drying up, the muse fleeing with his authenticity. Caleb confessed the startup grind masked a deeper emptiness. The elopement a panic move to fit the mold. We could end it all, Noah said, voice raw. Come out. Start over. Caleb barked a laugh. With what? Divorces? Custody battles? In this economy? In this town where everyone's watching? Ethan nodded slowly. He's right. We have to contain it. Tell our wives a version of the truth. Enough to explain the song without the full blast. Liam turned to Grayson. And you? MIA's okay. For now, Grayson replied, the lie bitter. But she deserves the whole story. They parted with uneasy handshakes, the site foreman calling Ethan back to work. Grayson wandered the waterfront, the gulls crying overhead, and called Miah. Meet me at the market. We need to talk more. She arrived in a yellow raincoat, her smile tentative amid the fishmonger's shouts. Over chowder in a steamy booth, he laid it bare. The kisses, the touches, the pact of silence. Her face cycled through shock, sorrow, anger, landing on a weary understanding. I love you, Gray. But it's not just your secret. It's ours now. I know, he said, reaching for her hand. What do we do? She squeezed back. Therapy. Together. And you keep making music. The real kind. That night, as the song climbed charts, Grayson sat at his desk, pen flying. A new verse emerged, not lament but reclamation. Lines about bridges burned and new paths forged, love in all its messy forms. But across town, Liam stared at his reflection in the bathroom mirror, Sarah's sleeping form in the next room, and wondered if reclamation meant letting go. The fallout cascaded like the cascade waterfalls they chased as kids, each revelation pooling into deeper currents that threatened to sweep them under. Grayson woke to the label exec's voice on his voicemail, breathless with opportunity. Gray, the tracks at number 5 on the indie chart. Labels sniffing around for an album. You in? He was, despite the terror, because the song had cracked him open, and the light pouring in felt like grace, even if it scorched. Miah threw herself into their marriage like a lifeguard into rough surf, booking sessions with a couples counselor in Capitol Hill who specialized in non-traditional paths. Their first appointment was in a sunlit office overlooking Broadway, the therapist's neutral tones a balm against the raw edges. Tell me about the song, she prompted, and Grayson did, voice steady for the first time, while Miah nodded beside him, her hand in his a quiet anchor. Across the Sound in Bellevue, Liam and Sarah navigated their own storm. She hadn't left, but the guest room became his temporary exile, the door a barrier lined with questions. Was it just them, or? Me too? She asked over dinner one night, her fork pushing peas around the plate like accusations. Liam, heart pounding, admitted the bis echoes, the way his love for her intertwined with a fluidity head long suppressed. I chose you, Sarah. Every day I choose. She cried then, not in rage but release, and they talked until dawn, forging a tentative pact. Openness, no more shadows. Ethan's world tilted on its axis during a site inspection in Elliott Bay, his phone buzzing with Jordan's text. I need space. The clinic called, we're trying again, but I can't if you're half gone. He drove to Golden Gardens that afternoon, the beach where they'd exchanged rings now a confessional. Jordan met him there, wind whipping her scarf, eyes red-rimmed. The song painted a picture I can't unsee. Were you ever all in? Ethan knelt in the sand, confessing the group's tangled history, his role in it a thread of curiosity turned regret. I am all in with you. The past. It's a scar, not a wound. She forgave slowly with conditions, individual therapy and a weekend away just them to rebuild. Noah and Riley faced it head-on in their Fremont loft, surrounded by half-finished canvases that mirrored their fractured life. The pregnancy had been their miracle after years of trying, but the song unearthed Noach's creative block, his brushes idle since. It's like the colors fled when I did, he told her, voice breaking as he played the track on loop. Riley, practical and fierce, rubbed her belly and said, then paint it out. The secrets, the loves, all of it. For us, for the baby. That night, he started a series. Abstract swirls of blue and gray, figures blurred in rain, emerging clearer with each stroke. She watched, hand on his, and whispered, I see you, Noah. All of you. Caleb, ever the fortress cracked widest. Tez S.A. ultimatum came over a tense dinner at their Soto condo, the city lights twinkling like distant judgments. The song says you regret us. Is it true? He denied at first, the startup CEO's mask intact, but her eyes, sharp as code, saw through. In the quiet of their bedroom, he unraveled. The elopement a rebound from a near miss with Ethan on a business trip to San Francisco, the app his distraction from the ache. I love you, Tess, but I haven't loved all of me. She held him as he sobbed, her own tears mixing. Then love him now, with me or without, but no more hiding. The Rain Kings reconvened not at the bar, but at Grayson's loft, Miah insisting on hosting, her presence a statement of solidarity. The space smelled of fresh-baked scones and coffee, a domestic armor against the ache. They arrived one by one, hugs longer, eyes meeting without evasion. Liam spoke first, voice rough. Sarah and I, we're opening up. She wants to meet you all, actually. Says if you're part of my heart, she needs to know you. Ethan nodded, sharing his beach epiphany. Jordan's scared, but fighting for us. Therapy starts next week. Noah unrolled a canvas from his bag, the colors alive with their shared ghosts. Riley's all in. Says the baby's gonna have 5 uncles who teach him honesty. Caleb, last to speak, pulled out his phone, showing an email to his board. A leave of absence to recalibrate. Tez SAS booking us a cabin. Like the old days, but with truth this time. Grayson looked around the circle, Mia's hand warm in his, and felt the shift. From fracture to foundation. The labels pushing for an album. I want you on it. Vocals, stories, whatever you're ready to give. They agreed, tentative but true, toasting with mugs instead of pints. As they left, Liam lingered, pulling Grayson into the hallway. That first kiss in the cabin. It wasn't just the woods. It was you. The words hung, not as regret but release, and Grayson nodded. The old spark now a gentle glow. But peace was fleeting. 2 days later, as Grayson demoed tracks in a makeshift studio in his garage, his phone lit with Caleb's name. It's bad, man. Tez SAS lawyer called. She's filing. Says the song proves emotional infidelity. And she knows about the app. I used company funds for a private investigator after the leak to trace if it was sabotage. He found emails, old ones, from us, to each other. Grayson's blood ran cold. What emails? The ones from after college. Flirty, dumb shit we sent when drunk. I thought ID deleted them. She has copies now. The betrayal wasn't Caleb's, not fully. But the investigators' dig had unearthed bones they'd buried deep. Panic rippled through the group chat. What does she have? Delete everything. Meet now. They converged at Noah's studio in Fremont. The air thick with turpentine and fear. Caleb paced, face ashen. She's not bluffing. Wants the condo half the startup. And she's threatening to go public, say the Rain Kings are a cover for. Whatever she spins it as. Liam slammed a fist on the workbench. We trusted you to handle your mess quietly. It was my mess, Caleb shot back. Until it isn't. Ethan, ever the mediator, spread a legal pad. We lawyer up. Grayson's a public defender, hell no firms. Grayson nodded, mind racing. But if it goes nuclear, our wives, the song's momentum. TLL drag everyone. Noah, painting furiously, paused. Or we own it. Come out as a group. Turn the scandal into story. The idea landed like lightning, illuminating paths both terrifying and true. As rain pattered the skylight, they debated into the night, alliances shifting, old wounds reopening. Liam confessed a recent slip, a drunken text to Ethan that Sarah had seen. Ethan admitted sharing the hot springs photo online years ago, geotagged a breadcrumb trail. Secrets layered upon secrets, each revelation a step toward the cliff. By morning, resolve hardened. They'd face Tessa together, offer mediation, full disclosure. Grayson drove Caleb home, the freeway a blur of taillights. You think she'll listen? Caleb stared out the window. I think I have to let her go. For real this time. At the condo, Tessa waited, documents stacked like battlements. Her eyes, once soft, were steel. You're all here. Good. Sit. The confrontation was a torrent. Accusations flying, tears flowing, Caleb pleading his fractured heart. Grayson spoke for the group, voice steady. The song wasn't to hurt. It was to heal. We love our wives, but we love each other too, in ways that don't diminish that. Tessa laughed bitterly. Love? Or convenience? You hid for years, and now a tune blows it up. But as Caleb reached for her hand, something shifted. I hid from me, not you. Let me make it right, even if it's apart. She signed the preliminary agreement by noon, the divorce amicable on paper, venomous in subtext. As they left, she pulled Grayson aside. Your song. Freed him. Hate you for the pain, but thank you for the truth. Back home, Grayson collapsed into Mia's arms. The weight lifting but leaving hollows. It's just beginning, she murmured, kissing his temple. That night, alone with his guitar, he wrote the bridge for the album. Lines of bridges crossed, not burned. Loves multiplied, not divided. The mediator's office in downtown Seattle became their unintended confessional. A glass-walled space overlooking the ferries slicing the sound like silver blades. Tessa had agreed to weekly sessions, her presence a gravitational pull that forced Caleb to confront the man head armored against. The group attended sporadically, their stories weaving a tapestry of accountability that surprised even the unflappable counselor. A woman named Lena with salt and pepper hair and eyes that missed nothing. Grayson's album production ramped up, the label securing a modest studio in Georgetown, its exposed brick walls echoing with takes that blended their voices. Liam's gravelly harmony on the chorus, Ethan's precise falsetto in the bridge, Noah's spoken word interlude laced with poetic grit. Caleb, hesitant at first, added subtle percussion. His beats a rhythmic heartbeat underscoring the vulnerability. Miah attended one session, her harmonies with Grayson a revelation, her voice clear and unyielding, claiming space in the narrative. But the external pressure mounted. A local blogger, sniffing scandal, published a piece titled Rain Kings, Seattle's hottest track or hottest mess? It dissected the lyrics, speculating on the married men with secret loves, angle, complete with grainy photos from their college yearbook. Comment sections erupted. Supporters hailing it as queer liberation, detractors branding it midlife crisis fodder. NPR invited Grayson for an interview, his voice steady over airwaves as he demurred. It's about the lies we tell ourselves, not specifics. The real crisis hit during a Rain Kings retreat, a long-planned cabin getaway in the Cascades, now shadowed by necessity. They drove up in 2 cars, wives encouraged but opting for space. The winding road through evergreens a metaphor for their twisting path. Snow dusted the peaks early that October, the air crisp with pine and possibility. The first night, around a crackling fire in the stone hearth, Liam broke. "Sarah's pregnant," he announced, the words tumbling like embers. "For weeks, we weren't trying, but it's happening." Joy mingled with fear in his eyes, the group erupting in hugs and backslaps. But beneath, the unspoken loomed, a child in this fragile rebuild. Ethan raised his glass, to new beginnings, and old ones reclaimed. As bottles emptied, confessions flowed freer than the creek outside. Noah admitted painting a portrait of the group from memory, nude and unashamed, which Riley had discovered and embraced. "She's commissioning more. Says it's our legacy." Caleb shared a letter from Tessa, post-divorce papers, forgiving but firm. "Find your truth, but don't forget mine." Grayson played rough cuts from the album, the cabin filling with their layered voices, harmonies that healed as they harmonized. But dawn brought the betrayal. Grayson woke to his phone vibrating off the nightstand. A text from an unknown number. "Saw your little getaway post. Cute. But I have proof it's more than brothers, check your email." Attached was a screenshot. An old email chain, Caleb's investigator's report, detailing dorm hookups, hotel receipts, even a blurry photo from the hot springs. Bodies obscured but unmistakable. "Who?" Grayson whispered, shaking Caleb awake. Caleb's face drained of color. "Tessa. She must have kept copies. But why now?" The group huddled in the kitchen, coffee steaming untouched. Liam scrolled furiously. "It's online. Some gossip site. Exclusive. Rain Kings rocked by gay past expose. They're naming us Gray. The song, the marriages, all twisted into tabloid gold." Ethan slammed his laptop shut. "This is what we feared. Careers, families." Noah paced, fists clenched. "Or it's the push we need. No more half measures." Caleb sank to the floor, head in hands. "This is my fault. The investigator was to protect the startup, not this." Grayson knelt beside him, voice firm. "We share the fault. All of us. But blaming won't bury it." They drove back in silence, the mountains receding like lost allies. Seattle greeted them with gray skies and flashing news alerts. Mia's car was in the driveway when Grayson arrived, her face pale as she thrust her phone at him. It's everywhere. Friends calling, asking if it's true. He pulled her into the loft, the door clicking shut like a verdict. It is. Parts of it. The past, the feelings. But our future. She searched his eyes, the woman who'd chosen him twice now. I know, and am still here. But the world isn't kind to this. The afternoon blurred into crisis mode. PR firms on speed dial, lawyers drafting statements. The Rain Kings met at Ethan's office, blueprints forgotten for damage control. Liam fielded calls from Sarah, her voice steady. We're telling our parents. Together. Ethan coordinated with Jordan, who quipped through tears. At least the blogs got our ages wrong. Makes us mysterious. Noah live painted on Instagram. Abstract responses to the headlines, his followers surging with messages of support. Caleb faced his board, resignation letter in hand, but they countered with a sabbatical offer. Rebrand as the authenticity guy. Grayson, at the epicenter, went live on social media from his studio, guitar in lap. The song was truth. The leaks are past. We're not hiding anymore. Album drops next month. Listen, then judge. Views skyrocketed, the vulnerability a magnet. But privately, the crisis peaked that night in a bar not their own. A quiet speakeasy in Belltown. Caleb arrived last, eyes haunted. Tessa texted. She's the source. Hurt turned to spite, but she says it's karma. Liam, 2 drinks in, exploded. Karma? You hired the PI, man. This is on you. Fists clenched, voices rose, the bartender eyeing them warily. Ethan pulled Liam back. Not here. Not like this. Grayson stood between them, heart aching. Enough. We're brothers, remember? Blood or not. Caleb met his gaze, tears streaking. Am I? After this. The fight deflated, leaving exhaustion. They spilled out onto the sidewalk, rain slicking the streets. Liam hugged Caleb first, apology in the squeeze. Yeah, you are. Back home. Miah waited with takeout and a bottle of wine. How bad? We're exposed, Grayson said, collapsing beside her. But alive. They ate in silence, then talked till stars pricked the sky. What if we move? She suggested. Portland, fresh start. He kissed her, tasting salt. Anywhere with you. As sleep claimed him, the phone glowed with a new message from Noah. Painting done. Sus whole. Album art. Grayson smiled in the dark. The crisis hadn't ended them. It had begun the real story. The leak lingered like smoke after a fire, acrid and clinging. But the Rain Kings fanned it into something warmer, a hearth for their reinvention. Grayson's album, titled Echoes in the Rain, dropped on a crisp November morning. The title track remastered with strings that evoked Seattle's misty veil. It debuted at number 3 on Billboard's indie chart, critics hailing it as a queer odyssey wrapped in folk rock introspection, while fans dissected lyrics for clues to the scandal. Publicly, Grayson leaned into the spotlight, a vulnerability tour stop at the Crocodile drawing a sold-out crowd of supporters waving rainbow flags and handwritten notes. This isn't confession, he told the mic, spotlights warm on his face. It's celebration of loves that don't fit boxes. The applause thundered, cathartic, Miah in the front row, her smile a beacon. Privately, the fractures mended unevenly. Liam and Sarah announced the pregnancy at a small dinner in their Bellevue home. The Rain Kings and wives gathered around a table laden with salmon and stories. He's a boy, Sarah said, hand on her barely rounded belly. And hell no, his dad's full heart from day one. Liam, beaming, dedicated a verse on the album to her, his voice cracking during the toast. Ethan's high-rise project broke ground amid headlines, the architect fielding interviews with grace. Creativity thrives in truth, he told Architectural Digest. Jordan's arm linked in his. Their therapy evolved into joint sessions with the group. Lena's office a safe harbor where wives shared their own hidden doubts, forging alliances stronger than suspicion. Noah's exhibit, Kings Unmasked, opened at a Fremont gallery, canvases alive with their collective ghosts. Swirling figures in rain, hands outstretched, eyes meeting without shame. Riley, glowing in her second trimester, curated it, her curatorial note reading, "Art as amends, love as legacy." Sales funded a college fund for the impending arrival, the baby a bridge between past and promise. Caleb, untethered from his startup, pivoted to consulting, his first client a queer youth nonprofit in Capitol Hill. The divorce finalized quietly, Tessa moving to a sleek apartment in Eastlake, their last mediation ending in a handshake. "Hurt doesn't erase history," she said, "but it doesn't define it either." He dated tentatively, a barista with kind eyes and no expectations, the simplicity a revelation after years of performance. For Grayson, the romance reignited with Miah in unexpected ways. They weekend in the San Juans, kayaking emerald waters, her laughter echoing as they beached on pebble shores. "I see you now," she whispered one night, skin to skin under stars. "And I choose this version." But seeds of change stirred. At a label party in Pioneer Square, Grayson locked eyes with Alex, a sound engineer with cropped black hair and a disarming grin, their conversation flowing like an unwritten chorus. The group's Fridays evolved, wives integrated, the rusty anchor traded for home-cooked potlucks. One evening in Grayson's loft, as snow flurried outside, Liam pulled him aside. "Remember the cabin?" he asked, voice low, the old pull there but gentled by time. Grayson nodded, hand on Liam's shoulder. "Yeah, it was us then. Now it's more." Liam smiled, clapping his back. "Good, 'cause Sarah's got baby names, and you're godfather." But the high tide of healing crested into a wave that tested them anew. A national outlet, hungry for clicks, aired a segment. From Brothers to Expose, The Rain Kings Untold. It featured an anonymous source, Tessa's cousin, spinning tales of manipulation and deceit, painting the group as predators in denial. Streams dipped, sponsors pulled from the tour, and hate mail flooded inboxes. Slurs scrawled in digital ink. Grayson fielded the worst at a signing in Pike Place. A heckler shouting, "Fake tears for fame." Security escorted him out, but the venom lingered. Miah found Grayson later in an alley, head against brick, tears silent. "It's not just words," he choked. "It's them seeing monsters where there's men trying." She held him, fierce. "Then show them men." The album tour continues. We fight with art. The Rain Kings rallied, recording a response track in a marathon session. Ashes to Ember, lyrics co-written, voices overlapping in defiance and tenderness. Caleb engineered it, his tech savvy turning raw emotion into polished power. They released it free online, a middle finger to the noise, and fans amplified it, countering hate with hashtags. Rain Kings rise. Yet the crisis delved deeper for Grayson. Alex, the engineer, became a fixture in studio sessions, their banter evolving into late-night walks along the waterfront, coffees turning to confessions. "You're not what the headlines say," Alex said one evening, hands brushing on the railing. "You're real." The kiss that followed was tentative, tasting of salt air and second chances, guilt twisting in Grayson's gut as he pulled away. "I love Miah. This complicated." Alex nodded, eyes kind. "Complicated doesn't mean wrong, just human." Home that night, Grayson confessed to Miah over tea, the loft quiet save for the clock. It was one kiss, but it felt alive. She set her mug down, face unreadable. "And us? Does it feel alive?" "Yes," he said, urgent. "But maybe not enough. Or different." The conversation stretched into hours, boundaries redrawn. Openness to explore, no secrets. Her own curiosity sparked toward a woman from her book club. "We're evolving," she said, tears shared but hopeful. Together or parallel. The group sensed the shift at their next gathering, Ethan's new build site a half-frame of future. Noah pulled Grayson aside amid rebar shadows. "MIA's strong. You both are. But if it's time to fly solo." Grayson exhaled. "Maybe. The songs taught me that." As winter deepened, The tour kicked off in Portland, the venue packed with faces from Seattle's scene. Grayson poured his soul into the set, Alex on lights, Miah in the wings. The encore was Rain King's Lament, the crowd singing back, a chorus of acceptance. Backstage, Liam hugged him, baby bump evident under Sarah's hand. Proud of you, brother. But in the van ride home, across state lines, Grayson stared at the blurring pines, the weight of choice heavy. Love wasn't a zero-sum, the album proved that. But hearts, fragile as they were, demanded care. Spring unfurled in Seattle like a hesitant bloom, cherry blossoms dusting the University District streets, mirroring the tentative thaw in the Rain King's lives. Grayson's tour wove through the West Coast, each city a checkpoint on his internal map. San Francisco's Castro district alive with pride flags that made his chest ache with belonging. Los Angeles' Sunset Strip where industry whispers tempted with major label deals, but he held firm to indie roots. Vancouver's rain-slicked harbors echoing home. Miah joined for legs of it, their parallel paths intersecting in hotel rooms where talks turned tender, bodies familiar yet rediscovered. I met Lena, she confessed one night in a Portland boutique hotel, the Willamette murmuring below. Lena from the book club, with her poet's laugh and shared love of graphic novels. It's light gray, like breathing after holding air too long. He kissed her forehead, relief mingling with a poignant ache. Good. You deserve that. Alex traveled as crew, his presence a quiet constant, their connection deepening in stolen moments. Shared playlists on long drives, hands lingering over soundboards. No more kisses, not yet, but the potential hummed like an amp before a riff. Grayson wrote about it in scraps, verses of polyphonic hearts, testing the melody with the group via late-night calls. The Rain Kings evolved too. Liam's son arrived in April, a squalling bundle named Theo, born under a rare blue sky at Swedish hospital. The waiting room became a vigil of bad coffee and better stories. Sarah's strength the sun around which they orbited. He's got your eyes? Liam told Grayson in the nursery. Tiny fingers curled around his. And our fight. Ethan and Jordan adopted a rescue dog, a lanky mutt named Atlas. Their infertility journey pivoting to fostering. The first kid a teen from juvie with a knack for sketches like Noah's. He's family now, Ethan said over beers. The high-rise topped out, ribbon-cutting imminent. Noah and Riley's daughter, Luna, entered the world screaming. Her cries a muse that flooded his studio with color. Riley balanced motherhood with a new graphic design gig. Their loft a chaos of diapers and dreams. She's got 5 dads worth of love, Riley joked at a baby shower, the wives toasting with mocktails. Caleb, single and soaring, launched a podcast, Unscripted Codes, interviewing queer entrepreneurs on authenticity in tech. His barista beau, Javier, became steady. Their dates hikes in Discovery Park where roots tangled like their stories. He's teaching me salsa, Caleb shared, grinning, and I'm teaching him patience. But beneath the bloom, shadows lingered. The national segment's fallout birthed a class action murmur. Ex-clients of Caleb's startup suing over distraction. Tabloids dredging Tessa's quotes into venom. Grayson faced it head-on in a Seattle Times profile. Photo with the group on Alki Beach, waves lapping like applause. We're not the villains, he wrote in the op-ed. We're the survivors. Secrets don't define us. Facing them does. The response was mixed. Allies amplified, adversaries doubled down. A death threat arrived via mail, scrawled on album liner notes, prompting security for the tour finale at the Paramount. Miah, ever vigilant, hired a PI of their own, tracing it to a disgruntled ex-fan, defused before harm. The climax crested at that finale, a homecoming sold out months prior. Backstage, nerves jangled like loose strings. Alex adjusted Grayson's mic, their eyes locking, the air charged. Break a leg? Alex murmured, thumb brushing his collarbone. On stage, the lights blazed, the crowd a sea of faces from their pasts. College profs, old flames, curious strangers. The set built to ashes to ember. The group's voices joining via video feed from their homes. A virtual embrace. Then, unscripted, Grayson stepped to the edge. This one's for the loves that shaped us. The ones we lost, found, and are finding. He launched into an acoustic cover of Hallelujah. Cohen's lament twisted into triumph. His voice raw, tears tracing paths down his cheeks. The audience swayed, phones aloft like constellations. Miah watched from side stage, her nod permission. Alex from the booth, his smile a promise. Post-show, the green room buzzed with afterglow. Hugs from the Rain Kings, flown in for the night, wives and kids in tow. Theo gummed a guitar pick. Luna cooed in Riley's arms. Caleb raised a champagne flute. To us, whole. But as the party thinned, Grayson slipped out to the alley, needing air. Alex followed, the door thudding shut behind. You were magic up there. Grayson turned, the street lamp casting halos. It was for you. All of you. The kiss ignited then, slow and sure, months of buildup pouring out. Hands in hair, bodies pressing, the world narrowing to breath and beat. They broke apart gasping, foreheads touching. Miah knows, Grayson whispered. She's okay. More than. Alex grinned, wicked and warm. Then let's see where this riff goes. Home at dawn, Miah waited, coffee brewing. Good show? Life-changing, he said, pulling her close. Ours too. She smiled. Lena's number saved in her phone. Always. The healing deepened in summer's heat. The group scattered for vacations. Liam's family to the Olympics, tents and truths shared. Ethan's foster kids sketched blueprints, dreaming big. Noah's exhibit toured, Luna's giggles soundtrack. Caleb and Javier road-tripped the coast, salsa steps on sandy beaches. Grayson balanced worlds. Mornings with Miah planning their own evolution. A throuple tease with Lena. Afternoons in studio with Alex. Tracks blooming into an EP. The Rain Kings podcast an episode, raw and real, downloads soaring. Yet the arc bent toward closure. In August, Tessa reached out, a coffee invite at a neutral cafe in Ballard. Caleb went alone, emerging hours later lighter. Forgiveness, he reported. Mutual. Grayson, walking the locks at sunset, felt the cycles turn. The song that started it all played faint from a passing car. A ghost now friend. Autumn gilded Seattle's edges, leaves turning gold along the Burke-Gilman Trail. A path the Rain Kings biked now with helmets and half-joking races. Kids strapped in trailers giggling over spokes. Grayson's EP, Parallel Hearts, released to quiet acclaim, tracks exploring multiplicity. Duets with Miah on shared ground, harmonies with Alex on new horizons. The cover art, Noah's brush, intertwined roots branching free. MIA's relationship with Lena flowered. Their trio dinners a novel rhythm, laughter filling the loft where once silence reigned. It's not replacement, she told Grayson one evening, Alex chopping vegetables beside them. It's expansion. He nodded, heart full, the domesticity a hard-won grace. The group's bond, tempered by fire, gleamed unbreakable. Liam's Theo took first steps at a potluck, tumbling into Ethan's arms, the room erupting. Jordan's foster program expanded, their home a haven for 2 more teens, blueprints of futures drawn on fridge magnets. Noah and Riley's Luna finger-painted with Caleb, Javier leading impromptu dance lessons, the loft a riot of color and clave. Caleb's podcast hit a milestone, episode 50 featuring the Rain Kings, unfiltered tales from cabin confessions to scandal survival. Listeners wrote in stories of their own unmaskings, inspired to come out, to forgive. You gave us permission, one said, and Caleb teared up on air. Grayson's tour wrapped in New York, a Bowery ballroom blaze where Broadway scouts whispered musical ideas. But he demurred, loyal to the indie pulse. Back in Seattle, the finale afterparty at the Rusty Anchor closed the circle. The booth reserved, walls papered with set lists and Polaroids, wives and partners toasting with IPAs and sparkling ciders. Liam raised his glass, Theo on hip. To the kings who reigned through the storm. Ethan arm around Jordan. And the queens who steadied the throne. Noah, Luna asleep on shoulder. To the art that set us free. Caleb, Javier's hand in his. To codes cracked, hearts unlocked. Grayson stood, Miah and Alex flanking, their touches light but sure. To secrets sung, and silences no more. The clink echoed, a vow renewed. Months later, as winter whispered in, Grayson walked the waterfront alone, the sound a mirror to his soul. The song that birthed it all streamed from his earbuds, lyrics now bomb not blade. He thought of the boy had been, hiding in rain, and the man had become, standing in sun. Love, he knew, was not a line but a web. Threads to Mia's quiet strength, Alex's electric spark, the group's unbreakable weave. It wasn't perfect, no erasure of scars, but in the mending, meaning bloomed. One evening, gathered again in the loft, snow dusting windows, Grayson picked up his guitar. New one, he said, strumming soft. The melody wove familiar. Verses of cycles closed and circles widened. They leaned in, voices joining, the harmony a homecoming.